Hi, friends. Welcome to Dysfunction Exposed. This is season 3, episode 5. Firstly, let me just tell you why there's been a little hiatus in me publishing anything recently. Because life has been lifing pretty fucking hard. And I needed a minute. Well, I needed about 3 fucking weeks when I say a minute. But that is neurodivergence all over. It takes me a little bit longer to process, okay? So yeah, I've just had a bit of time to myself, just going with it, feeling it, dealing with it, basically. So that's why there's been a bit of a break, but we're back. So today, I'm gonna be talking to you about losing my virginity. Because this is a pretty big occasion in anybody's life. Like, we all have that point in our lives. Well, the majority of us. Sorry to generalise, because I know some people won't. Excuse me. So, obviously, with the history, parents aren't around, there's not a lot of guidance generally, and I'm being left to my own devices a lot. So, when I was 14, I was more aware of what sex was. Obviously, we'd had sex ed at school at this point, and people were getting pregnant in my year at school at this point. So, people were shagging, and I was fully aware of it. And with my mental health not being great at the time, because I couldn't decide if I wanted to live at that point, I was like, well, I don't want to die a virgin, to be honest. And that, what the fuck am I? What the fuck? But let me rewind, because this all started with me going online and going on chat rooms and things of that nature when I was younger without any guidance. And my first boyfriend, I actually met in a chat room. He didn't live too far away, and the first time I met him, I took a friend with me because even though it's such a fucking stupid idea when I thought about it, it was a really dumb idea to do that, but I'm glad I had my wits about me enough to take my friend with me. So I've been talking to this guy, I eventually meet him, my friend's there, I say, right, okay, we're cool, like, are you good? And she's like, yeah, I'm good, she leaves me to it. And it was the first night I met him that I had a sexual encounter with him. And he was a few years older than me. So this is where it gets a bit murky. Because A, he was older than me. B, this public act happened at a train station. Again, what the fuck? And C, I had no concept of consent at that point, because everything I'd learned, apart from the baseline stuff you get in sex education from a public school, I learned by watching TV and being online. Like, I didn't know that that was a thing. I'd just been watching Pornhub and going, oh, that's how you do it. That was the ideology of my brain. Well, they're fucking professionals. Well, they obviously know how to do it. Easy, I can do that. No problem. And it wasn't long after that first sexual encounter that it actually escalated into me losing my virginity with this boy. And in typical me fashion, there was an awkward side to this. As if your first time wasn't awkward enough, he takes me back to his house. He's living with his parents and his family. So, fine. Like, at least I know you're not some weird serial killer, you're living with people. He takes me back to his house. No one's in. He decides that that's where we're going to have sex. Like, this is happening. And I don't say no, okay? Because I don't want to die a virgin. No. That was in the front of my mind. So let's just get this out the way. Let's see what the fucking fuss is about, shall we? We have sex, and did it blow my mind? Did it bollocks? Did anyone's first time? I doubt it. I really doubt it. But because I am the little weirdo I am and my brain works the way it works, obviously I bled a little bit. Now, when we stood up to get clothes back on and move on with life, I noticed that where there had been a stain on the bed, it was perfectly shaped like a penis. So I started laughing about it because I was like, no way. And he did not find it funny at all. And I think that's what made me feel more awkward. Like, it wasn't the fact that you'd just seen me naked and you've just had this experience with me. No. It was the fact that you didn't find that funny that I was more bothered about. That is a wild scenario to be in. And looking back at it, I was super naive. But at the time, I thought I fucking knew everything. I was that kid who wouldn't be told. Obviously, I didn't trust anybody. I didn't trust myself. I had no self-belief. My self-esteem was on the fucking floor. It was just messy. And I made the wrong decisions. And yes, I'm not sitting here and saying that it was solely my issue with that scenario, because yes, I was manipulated in ways, and there are things there that are out of order. And I put myself willingly into those situations at the same time because there was no one else to look out for me. And it's a weird one to have to take accountability for situations that I kept going back to. Now, if this was a one instance situation, I think I'd feel very differently about being, quote unquote, a victim. I'm not a victim. I've never been a victim. But that is the word that would sit best in that situation. So yeah, I mean, I can't fully lose accountability for situations that I kept going back to. And I know a lot of people will find issue with that. And they'll say, you're blaming yourself. Well, no, I'm not, because I'm very aware that what that boy did at the time shouldn't have happened like that. And there is responsibility there. But I have responsibility for myself too. And that's my bottom line on it. I know some people won't agree with it, but that's mine. That's my truth. I'm allowed to do that. And that's how it sits best with me. Every single situation from this moment on that I tell you about, where you'd probably say I was a victim, I will always take accountability for. Because 9 times out of 10, I put myself in that situation. Not that I thought it'd escalate into the way it does, and did, but I still put myself there. And that is reality. That is, I can't be in the victim mindset, because that keeps me low. It keeps me at low vibration. It keeps me sad. It keeps me depressed. If I fully stand on my shit, I can deal with it, because it's mine and I can honour it. even though sometimes the situations aren't to be honoured, it's okay to be like, yeah, I fucked up too. And there's no shame in that. So, getting off the virginity topic, because there's quite a lot of stuff that went down when I was 14, 15 years old. And apart from losing my virginity, there's a couple of other stories I'm going to tell you today. The first one being a situation in which my dad was staying at his girlfriend's house. He left me to it, as we know. And in those situations, I would have my friends over, like we'd stay over at mine, they'd keep me company, yada, yada, yada. And one evening, bear in mind that because I was a fat kid, I didn't get a lot of male attention from boys my age. Naturally, because I was the odd one out. And it wasn't until I got online and was like, oh, men do want it. It's just the people I'm around don't want it. And that kind of opened my eyes as well. But this particular evening, there was me and a couple of friends. And she got a message at about 11:30 at night. Bear in mind, beautiful girl. She had a stunning body. Obviously, boys were interested. And they were like, oh, we've got a free house. Do you want to come up for a bit? So we're like, oh my God, yeah, let's go to boys' houses. Let's go to boys' houses. And they drove. So at the time, we jumped in the car with them, went up to theirs. We were having drinks and just chatting and messing about. And it's like I already knew my place. Like, I knew that I wasn't the attractive one in that situation. Like, that was just never me at that age. And I just kind of went with it. I just kind of drunk it off and, like, messed about. I've always had my personality. And I think that's the one thing that kept me flowing through those situations. Like, I was just having fun at the time. I didn't really analyse the fact that boys didn't want me. I didn't really care. Like, I'd already lost my virginity now. No one else knew that. I know that. Like, I've already experienced dick. Like, what else can you offer me apart from more dick, basically? So we go to these guys' houses, we're drinking, we're having fun, the girls are like flirting with the boys, the usual situation. And fucking foolish of us. We decided to get in the car with them to go and get dropped back off at home. Because it was only about a 5-minute drive, it was no massive distance. The two boys are sat in the front of the car, and there's me and my two friends sat in the back. I'm in the middle, I was on the left behind the passenger seat. My friend was in the middle, and then the other friend was behind the driver. And because boys, being boys, were absolute morons, and the Fast and the Furious was a thing at the time, these lads decided to recreate the scene from Fast and Furious where the two characters sat in the front of the car are staring at each other. Now, there's no eyes on the road. They're just staring at each other. And my heart fell through my arsehole at this point, because about 30 seconds later, the car had crashed into a skip. It was completely written off. Everyone's jumping out of the car. I was still stuck in the back, trying to get my way out, and this car was now on fire. Fuck me. Okay, so I jumped out the car in time, and obviously this was a main road. So people had heard the bang. They'd seen it go off. This was about 3:00 in the morning. The ambulance arrived, the police arrive, And me and my friends get escorted to hospital, and I basically never see those boys again. And me and my friends were in hospital. And this is the craziest thing. Because my dad was out at his girlfriend's house, no one knew of our whereabouts. Their parents just thought they were at my house. My dad didn't know or give a fuck where I was. And it had fucked my arm up. Like, I had such a huge bruise. There was such a huge lump in my arm for a significant amount of time. And we made it home from the hospital after being checked out. And my dad arrived about 3-4 hours after we'd got home. He never knew about that car crash. Not until I was at least 21, 22. And I was like, you see this mark on my arm, Dad? Do you ever know how I got that? And he couldn't tell me. And I said, yeah, because I never told you I snuck out and was in a car crash with 2 boys I didn't know. And it was a fucked up night. And I managed to hide that from you very fucking well. See the problem? Absolute insanity of a situation. But that's what it was. I can pretty confidently say that if any children can hide being in a car crash from the parents, the big fat word that came to my brain was neglect. Like, how do you not question that? But this particular friend that this had occurred with, we were double trouble. Like, we were going through the motions together in this. We were partners in crime at this point. And being partners in crime, on a later date, we decided it'd be a great idea to wag school. Wagging school is just bunking off, if that's a slang that you don't recognise. We decided to bunk off school. We were going to go into the centre of town and we were going to go to Primark. We were going to go and grab some shit because shoplifting's fun, isn't it, when you're a kid? Ooh, it's exciting. It's very exciting. So out we go. Get out the school gates. No one's clocked us. Happy days. We're on the bus. We have to get 2 buses to get to where we're going. So we get off the first one, onto the second one, and we're approaching Piccadilly. And as we sat on the top of the bus, I looked at my friend and I was like, I've got a really bad feeling about this. Like, this isn't going to go well. And this is the lesson to always trust your own intuition. Because I was right. We got off the bus, we go into Primark, we're picking up cute bits, and we're throwing random shit in our school bags. Bear in mind, not the smartest idea that we're still in our school fucking uniform. For someone so intelligent, how was I so stupid? Like, rookie mistakes. I'd figured out the depth, but then I couldn't figure out the surface layer. Sounds about right. So security clocked us and we get escorted into a back room and we try to play it really cool. That doesn't work. We get arrested. We get put into the back of a riot van in the middle of the city centre. Absolute reprobates. Like, the shame, the absolute shame on myself that I was stealing, I don't know, fucking £2 headbands. Ridiculous shit. But I didn't have a lot. So that seemed worthwhile to me. Like, oh, if it means I can just get something nice, then let's do it. And me and my friend go to the police station. We're escorted in, we're checked in. They put us in a cell. I'm 14 years old and this is petty theft, okay? And it wasn't until I'd cried myself to sleep on the bed, and it must have been a good 5-6 hours later that my dad shows up for me. And I was like, what took you so long? Like, why did you leave me here? You won't fucking do that again, will you? And realistically, I was very lucky that he was in the country at that point. Because if he wasn't, well, is it luck? If he wasn't, that could have escalated into a completely different situation for me. Now, life lesson, he was kind of right. I fucking hated him for leaving me there for so long because that didn't seem necessary to me. But he's a tough love kind of person, and that was the way he dealt with it. So, lesson learned, that was, well, the first time I got arrested. I'll tell you about the second time on next time's episode. But back to today. The last story in this episode I'm going to tell you is one that follows in suit of the madness that I've already told you this far. When I was 15, my dad didn't like Christmas a lot, okay? So he basically decided to cancel Christmas when I was like 14 after the cancer situation. He went, yeah, I'm not fucking doing that anymore. Okay, cool. I know Santa isn't real, you know? And he decided that we'd go on holiday for Christmas and New Year. And at the time, he could afford to do that. So happy days. This one particular year, me, my brother and my dad were in Lanzarote and it was Boxing Day. So we're strolling down the seafront, just going on a little wander. And because I'd been watching a lot of things on the internet and becoming more worldly wise to the things that are now available to me, I wanted tattoos. And I would not give up until I had a tattoo. And I'd been desperate for him to take me to go and get one at home. And he'd said, no, not happening, Emma. It's definitely not happening. So in Lanzarote, he must have been feeling extra fruity. Vacay mode. Because we walked past the open tattooist. And this man looked at me as if to call my bluff and went, do you want to get your tattoo? Okay. Christmas came a bit later this year, but this is dreams coming true for me. Of course I want to get my first tattoo. I'm 15 years old. No one else has got this. I want this. It's mine. I'm fucking doing it. So into the tattooist we go. My dad sat there. My brother's sat there. My brother's 18, 19 years old. He hasn't even got a tattoo yet. But I'm doing this. I was adamant. And I can't believe what I chose. What a fucking idiot. I chose a little Chinese symbol. And the meaning behind it is pure. Or purity. And I really appreciate 15-year-old me for choosing that particular word. Because I would now describe myself as a very pure-hearted individual with pure good intentions. That's who I am at my core. And I knew that back then, but it's represented in a shitty way. So yes, it's a bit of a tramp stamp, but I still love its meaning. Now, as I was sat there getting this tattoo done, I'm holding my brother's hand. My dad's looking at me as this needle's going in my back, and I didn't flinch. Absolutely balls of steel. I just looked at him and I was like, oh, this isn't so bad, you know? Like, this is actually okay. And my brother's like, does it not hurt? Well, no, not really. It's just like weird vibration. That's all I can feel. I'm fat. I've got several layers to play with here. Like, I don't know if being fat affects the pain threshold, but I feel like it almost did because it wasn't bony, if that makes sense. So, yeah, the pain didn't bother me. I've always had a high pain threshold anyway, but it just did not bother me in the slightest. And that was it. Came back after Christmas break, January, back at school. Ooh, what did you get for Christmas? I got a PS3. What did you get for Christmas? Oh, I got some Beats or whatever the fuck I got. Like, everyone's talking about all this shit they've got, and I'm like, I got a tattoo. Absolutely flexing. Did not give a shit. Again, teachers, did you think it was just a fake tattoo? Or did you think that I was just batshit? Like, where was the call to social? Anyone? No one? Okay. Fucking insane. You know what? That is all I'm leaving you with for today's episode. Because that was a good purge of mini stories for you. That leaves you a lot to sit with. But for now, I'm Emma J. This is Dysfunction Exposed. Have a great week, and I'll see you soon.